Nichols for Great Writer's Deal. Today, we are talking about Charity, a short story by Charles Baxter. It was first published in 2013 in issue 43 of McSweeney's, one of the very cool journals out there. Heidi Pittler and Jennifer Egan chose that work to be included in Best American Short Stories 2014. What's the element of craft we're stealing? Point of view. When Maddie and Harry met, they were Americans living in Africa, doing what they could to help sick people. Harry loved that Maddie/Quinn was filled with kindness for the people around him, and wasn't helping out in hopes of making a profit. As the bard might say, the course of true love never did run smooth. Though they remain boyfriend and boyfriend after returning to the States, Maddie ends up living in a friend's basement, addicted to the painkillers that are his only relief from the pain caused by a sickness that even the Mayo Clinic can't identify. The story is split into two sections. The first describes the dire straits in which Maddie finds himself, and the second is a first-person account of Harry's trip to Minneapolis to find and help his boyfriend. Mr. Baxter tricked me. Ever since grad school, I've been in the habit of jotting down the story's point of view and the names of the important characters. Doing so helps me remember the story the next time it's brought up and addresses one of my blind spots. I'm really bad at remembering character names. So I started reading Charity. Section 1. He had fallen into bad trouble. He had worked in Ethiopia for a year. So I uncapped my fountain pen and wrote third, and eventually, Quinn. All was well and good until I reached the next section. Section 2. That was as far as I got whenever I tried to compose an account of what happened to Maddie Quinn, my boyfriend, my soulmate, my future life. Uh-oh. That's first person. What's going on? Well, Mr. Baxter has made a fantastic choice. That's what's going on. Even though Harry most certainly asked Maddie about what happened in Minneapolis, he was not there for every moment. The story therefore benefits from casting this first section in third person. The narrator, Harry in this case, is able to immerse the reader in the story much more deeply than if he had to tell the tale from a distance. Further, the first section really does belong to Maddie. He's the protagonist of these events. He's the focal character, so the story should be told from his perspective. The second section, on the other hand, is very much Harry's story. He's the one who meets up with Blackbird and who does what he can to bring Maddie back to life. If you're lucky enough to have the Best American volume, you can read the endnotes that accompany each story. Mr. Baxter reveals the most fascinating piece of information regarding the genesis of Charity. I had just written a story called Chastity, in which my protagonist, Benny Takamitsu, gets mugged, and I thought, I wonder who did that. Whoever did it had to be desperate. Whoever it was, I thought, might be a good soul in the grip of something truly terrible, so I wrote it that way. Isn't that cool? Mr. Baxter's choice offers a couple powerful advantages. It's really hard to come up with story ideas, isn't it? Cherry-picking an event from another of your works can be the inspiration that gets you going on a new story. If you look at any of your stories, you'll surely see all kinds of avenues ripe for exploration. Here's what I'm thinking I could poach from my story, something like a sin. Who are some of the other people who attend Transformation Baptist? What are they like? What else could happen in the Raven, the bar the protagonist frequents? What is Pastor Hawking's family like? When has he failed to live up to his own standards? What happened with all the other women the protagonist mentions? Who is in the house when Melody closes the door behind her? See, if I'm dry for inspiration, looking into my past work can give me a jumpstart. Mr. Baxter also gained something very important by reusing Benny Takamitsu's mugging. He's creating a discernible world. Isn't it comforting to know that all the Marvel characters know each other and can sometimes team up for good or evil? Tying these two stories together makes Mr. Baxter's Minneapolis seem more like a real place. Creating the mythology is also a good idea in light of the fact that Mr. Baxter is publishing a collection of stories about virtues and vices. Chastity, charity, refraining from watching the next Breaking Bad episode on Netflix before your spouse does, and so on. A shared world only strengthens the conceit of the book. So let's break it down. What should we steal? Tell your story from the most appropriate and interesting point of view. Sure, you may have to break down your story into different sections and change the point of view, but that's okay if it's done in the service of the story. Borrow characters and situations from your other works. Even if it's just a cameo from another character's friend, people who read your work will find greater depth in the world you create. Well, that's about all for now. Remember, you can subscribe to this channel. You can visit the website at greatwritersdeal.com for much more information. I am Kenneth Nichols, and remember, Shakespeare did it, so should you.